Hello and welcome to another high altitude investing live stream. Today is the 12th of September and it's going to be a lot of fun talking about crypto, as it always is. And I'm very excited to be doing a live stream with you guys today about where I think crypto is headed. So let's share this link over in Discord and on X. Make sure everybody knows that I'm doing a live stream. Cool. So let's pull up Bitcoin. Start off with the old Bitcoin, as they like to call it. Bitcoin. Good old BTC, the classic. So Bitcoin has been going up since my last live stream. We have a falling wedge here on Bitcoin that we broke bullish out of, and we've been going up. So this is exactly what I've been planning for Bitcoin. What is up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you for taking a minute to tune into today's live stream. So yeah, we're breaking out bullish on Bitcoin here, exactly as planned. And it looks really good. I mean, we pulled back just a tiny bit here on the daily, right here. But it's really a small pullback. Mainly we've had a breakout as planned out of this falling wedge. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. Is a bullish breakout of the falling wedge. That's exactly what we're seeing, and I expect more upside coming for Bitcoin. Just exactly like what happened as we broke bullish out of this falling wedge right here, right? We had a falling wedge on Bitcoin over here, and we broke bullish like this, and the price went to the moon. And I firmly believe that we're going to see more upside for Bitcoin as we continue to break bullish here. And it's really because of this falling wedge. Octahedron, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Dallin, nice pump after this full moon. Yeah, it really does seem to work pretty good. The full moon and the new moon phase does have a pretty big influence on the markets. And overall, we do have bullishness during the full moon. And overall, we do have bearishness during a new moon. It's not 100%, but it's close enough, right? It's a useful thing to be aware of, at the very least. Matt Osty, thanks for the update on Altcoin that you did. Yeah, I felt that I needed to do another Altcoin video. It had been a minute, and I firmly believe we're going to see a big run on Altcoin for this bull market, and I'm very excited about that. So I figured, hey, no better time than that day that I made that video to do a video on Altcoin. So yeah, thank you for watching it, and I'm glad that you got value out of that video. Carlos, hey sir, thank you. What do you think about Swiftcoin? Carlos, good to see you tuning in. Let's check out Swiftcoin. You guys kind of get the point here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks bullish, expecting more upside coming soon. So let's pull up Swiftcoin on Coinbase. Wow, this looks really good. This is actually the first time I've ever pulled this chart up before. Never done analysis on this coin. Yeah, this looks really good. A lot of times early on in these uptrends, you'll get these kind of big pumps and big pullbacks like this. But this is still early on in the uptrend. This looks like it's going to go a lot higher before it's done doing its thing. So this is pretty common for the market to do this. It's called the first sell-off pattern. So here's some good examples. Here's NVIDIA, for example. NVIDIA did a similar thing. You can see NVIDIA over here on the right. You have this big correction right here on NVIDIA before NVIDIA saw more upside and more continuation of its trend. So that's called the first sell-off pattern. And when you're early on in a bull market, before it really goes vertical and goes parabolic, a lot of times you will have these big corrections like this. And you will pull back down to support, and do what's called a first sell-off pattern. And that's exactly what I see here with Swiftcoin. And I believe this coin will go for another move up. You can see we've got good volume. We're on Coinbase, which is a good thing to be on Coinbase. And it really, to me, it just looks like these early day cycles before you go full force in a parabolic bull market, like what we see with NVIDIA over here. You're going to have a first sell-off. The market has to shake people out before it goes to the moon. Every market ever does this. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, you're going to see those first sell-off patterns. So yeah, Swiftcoin looks really good. And yeah, again, thank you for tuning in, Carlos. Matt Osty says, can you look at ZBCN? Absolutely. Let's pull up ZBCN here and do some analysis on good old ZBCN. So this is the same thing as that other coin that we were just looking at. It's going to take different shapes, different variations, but this is the first sell-off pattern of ZBCN as well. So as you guys know, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin, very bullish on crypto as a whole. So the entire crypto markets, most everything is going to go up, obviously. Now that we have the world of meme coins that are so easy to create, there will be a lot of meme coins that don't go up because a lot of them are just pump and dumps for a single day, where they just get pumped and then dumped in a single day and they never recover, or takes a long time for them to recover. But with that being said, there's also a lot of real utility coins, a lot of real coins with real world value that are going to follow Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of the top cryptos as they go into a full-blown bull market. So that's what I'm expecting for the crypto industry, is a full-blown bull market with a big parabolic run. And coins like ZBCN are going to do very well during that period. It's not a meme coin. It's not just a pump and dump. This thing has real utility, and you can see that in the chart. We have a perfect triangle here. We have a huge accumulation cycle right here, where the price of ZBCN was going sideways inside of this accumulation right here. Then we broke bullish in our first Elliott wave, our first impulsive move. And then, of course, we pull back because every cycle, these bull markets, these uptrends have to have healthy corrections. And in the case of ZBCN, we have a triangle pattern, a bullish triangle. So that looks really good to have this bullish triangle here forming on ZBCN. And really what I expect to have happen is a bullish breakout of this triangle. This is the first sell-off, just like how we were looking at the first sell-off with Swiftcoin. That's also the first sell-off here with ZBCN. And a lot of examples of these first sell-offs. For example, here's a first sell-off pattern on Cardano, right? First sell-off right here. Then the market really went into a big bull market after that. And that's something you're going to see in these markets. The market has to shake people out before it goes to the moon. That's the nature of markets. Why do you think that Bitcoin hit 69,000 and then pulled back all the way back down to 13,000 per coin back in 2021 and 2022 and stuff before it went to over 100,000? Because it's the nature of markets to shake people out. And a lot of times you'll predict those shakeouts because you see the market is overvalued, but sometimes you won't. And that's where being a holder comes in, where you have to have the willpower to hold on to your investments even during a correction. Because the people that held on to their Bitcoin won. Those are the people that came out on top. Even if they didn't sell all of their Bitcoin here at 69,000 before it came down to 13 or 14 or whatever right here, even if they didn't sell, if they held on, they won. They came out on top. That's why they say the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Well, guess what? That phrase works just as well for crypto as it does for stocks. If you're trading top coins that have good utility to them, if you're patient enough, you're going to come out on top. You're going to come out with profit in your portfolio. It's only the people that don't have patience that panic sell in the dip that come out in the red. But the people that have patience, they make money, right? Which is cool. It's cool to understand that how powerful patience is in making profit in these markets. Jason, what is up? Thank you for tuning in. Billy on Solana. Yeah, we can do Billy. Let's pull up old Billy. This is a classic, you guys. This is a classic meme coin in the world of Solana meme coins. Look how undervalued this thing is. In the big picture, this is a pretty classical ABC correction. So we had a big pump, everybody got excited in 2024, but then this market pulled back all the way. And a lot of people would say, oh, well, Billy's done for. It hasn't, recovered. It's got to be done for. Well, there's still $1 million in liquidity and only $3 million in market cap, so that tells you that there's still people that care about this coin. All right? Still a lot of people that care about this coin. Still 34,000 holders of Billy. And it did a perfect ABC correction here. So even though it may appear like a coin that couldn't recover, I'm pretty sure this thing is on places like MEXC. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's on MEXC, it's on HTX, it's on CoinX and Gate.io and Weeks and Poloniex and Kraken. It's on places with volume and there's still a good community. So those are things that you want to look for in the world of meme coins. And no, it wasn't just a pump and dump on the daily either. A lot of these coins that get added to Dex Screener and Pump.Fun, they'll pump on the daily candlesticks. You'll see it up like 10,000%. Then it has this huge correction and it never recovers. Why does it never recover? Because it was a total pump and dump on the daily. But if you're on the weekly like this and you have a bigger cycle playing out, then that shows that there's more accumulation. There's a bigger community. There's more whales behind it. So here with Billy, I really do believe Billy will recover. It will see a recovery in the big picture. It's got all of the characteristics that you'd look for that to happen. What are my thoughts on Charlie? You know, actually somebody in my VIP area asked me what I thought about Charlie, and I had to tell them, hey, and this was last night, I had to tell them I'm pretty sure Rest in Peace Charlie is better than just normal Justice for Charlie. Because if you click on Charlie and you look at Justice for Charlie, maybe it could recover soon, but there's some things here that you have to be aware of. Like if we go to the website, you can see that, oh, there's 5 transactions. That's good to see. Last night when I looked at this, there was only 1 transaction here. So that's good to see that more people did donate here. It looks like they've already donated $10,000 to the family. So this could recover now that it's crashed a little bit harder here. Last night, when I looked at the website, there was only 1 transaction. And when I went to Rest in Peace Charlie and I checked out their website, they had a whole bunch of donations and transactions on their website. And so last night when I looked at these 2 coins, I thought, well, Rest in Peace Charlie looks better than Justice for Charlie. And when I woke up this morning, Rest in Peace Charlie went up 500%, 600% in 24 hours, and Justice for Charlie went down another 30%. So I'm glad that's what I told people in the VIP area, because overnight we saw a huge pump on Rest in Peace Charlie, and we had a big crash on Justice for Charlie. But now both charts look pretty good. I like how Justice for Charlie has more transactions. There's been more donations here, and it looks like they've given $10,000 to the family. So at least they're trying to actually do what they're set up to do, which is give some justice to this family that was affected by this terrible event, right? So that's good. That gives me a little bit more hope for this coin. We do have an ABC correction here on Justice for Charlie. Last night, we were right here, and it looked bearish to me, and it did crash another like 80% from where I posted last night that I figured it was going to go lower. But now that it's gone a little bit lower and they've done some more donations, that does look better. It could recover. Out of the 2 right now, this one looks like a better buy. But last night, the other one looked like a better buy. So it's just, that's the nature of markets. You just have to kind of be aware of what's happening. So, but they both could recover. They both could see a big run. If I was to put $1,000 in one of the 2 right now, I'd probably split 50-50, to be honest with you. Just because both of them have very similar donations. Both of them look like a pretty good buy right now. And yeah, so that's what I'd do. Dallin, hope all is well in Red Rock country. Hope Algorand starts to rock by the time I get back to Oregon in a month. Yeah, Algorand. Let's check out the good old Algorand chart. So, back to this whole idea of people not expecting a recovery in markets because they don't understand the way that these markets work. Okay? You could see something like this and you could go, well, we had an uptrend over here in 2021, but we haven't had a big pump since. Is it ever going to pump? That would be a pretty common thing for people to wonder. Is this coin ever going to pump? Well, the first thing that you can look at, something that gives you some insight on this project, is getting a phone call right now. Better not answer. Look at this volume on Algorand. We have a huge spike in volume here on Algorand, and we have another big spike right here and another big spike right here. Okay, so that's something to be aware of first and foremost. Second of all, you have to understand that this is the way that crypto works. This is how crypto moves. People don't recognize this. They don't realize that this is the nature of crypto. You'll get these big corrections where people give up on the market before big recoveries. And that's exactly what I see here with Algorand. This is a perfect example of a coin that still has good volume, that's a good project, that has a lot of reasons to take off in this up-and-coming bull market for crypto that we've already started to see with Bitcoin hitting 100K and leading the big bull market that we're going to see. Algorand has every reason in the world to see a big bull market. We have an ABC correction. We have more volume happening right now than what we had at our peak over here in wave B. So this thing can easily recover in the big picture as well as in the smaller time frame. If we zoom in on the smaller time frame, we have a pretty classic market cycle here as well, right? So in the big picture, we just have a big ABC. In the smaller time frame, we have a very classic Elliott wave cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and C. And then we've started to recover here. We've even got a triangle here on Algorand. Nice triangle pattern. And breaking bullish out of this pattern will really give us the green light go for us to see a nice recovery and a breakout up through the top of wave 5 here. So I'm bullish on Algorand. I've been bullish on this coin for quite some time, and I'm still bullish on this coin. It looks really good. In your opinion, when do you think altcoin season will be in full effect? Well, we've already started to see the beginning signs of alt season. First of all, Bitcoin dominance is in a bear flag right now. As you can see, we had a bearish flag up here, bear flag pattern right here on Bitcoin. And that bear flag led to more downside, as you would expect a bear flag to do, right? And then we had another bear flag right here, and we just barely broke bearish out of that bear flag. So that's telling me that Bitcoin dominance is going to go lower, that we're going to see more downside on Bitcoin dominance, and have a huge rejection out of a big rising wedge. I mean, look how big this rising wedge was, right? Big, huge rising wedge on Bitcoin dominance, and we just barely broke bearish out of that rising wedge. So it's no surprise that Bitcoin dominance is falling off a cliff. And yeah, Bitcoin is still increasing in value because when alt season happens, Bitcoin is still going up in value every time, but altcoins do a bigger percentage gain, which is why Bitcoin dominance starts to drop. And that's exactly what we see here with the Bitcoin dominance chart. We have a bear flag. We broke bearish out of a rising wedge. That's every reason in the world to be bearish on Bitcoin dominance. Not to be bearish on Bitcoin. That's a big difference. You don't want to be a Bitcoin bear during alt season because Bitcoin always goes up during alt season. But you definitely want to be aware the Bitcoin dominance is going down. and that we're going to see more downside on Bitcoin dominance. Got to send a text message really quick. Just give me 2 seconds here. So yeah, definitely be aware that Bitcoin dominance is something that is going to go lower from here. And what you have to do is you have to be more in altcoins than in Bitcoin. Like if somebody came to me right now, and most of my one-on-one members and people that I'm coaching are not set up like this, so it's not something I have to really address. But let's say one of my one-on-one members came up to me right now and they were like, oh yeah, I've got $300,000 in Bitcoin and I have $30,000 in XRP and $10,000 in altcoins, other altcoins. I would tell them, hey, you got to get less Bitcoin. What are you doing with all that Bitcoin right now? That Bitcoin needs to be distributed into altcoins. That's what needs to happen with it. Because it's going to do worse. You know, you'd be better off to hold altcoins than Bitcoin when Bitcoin dominance is falling off a cliff. Not that Bitcoin won't go up, but that's just the nature of the market, right? So just be aware of that. Cool. So yeah, alt season is here, Carlos. What about cake? Yeah, let's pull up cake. Good old PancakeSwap. Can't go wrong with good old PancakeSwap, can you? Well, in the big picture, a lot of people are pretty mad. But this is crypto. Again, right? This is what I was talking about. You have to be willing to hold through big corrections. Because in the big picture, you might see something, especially if you're not timing it correctly, like if you get into crypto at the top of a bear market, then you're going to have a lot of patience. Just how it is. Because the market might do this. Look at PancakeSwap in the big picture, right? Just a huge ABC correction, which is a really good sign in the big picture. But for people that don't have patience and don't have awareness of these market cycles, they would see something like this and they would be afraid that maybe it's not going to recover, that maybe there's nothing to it, you know. But this is a perfect opportunity in the big picture to buy PancakeSwap. Why do you think I'm always showing you guys these older charts like Cardano, right? Where there's this huge crash in the market and then it fully recovers. I show you those charts because that's the way that crypto moves. That's the psychology of these markets. That's what you have to get imprinted in your mind. See Cardano over here on the right? Cardano had a big pump in 2018, and then it had a huge bear market in 2018, right? I guess technically it was pumping mainly December of 2017, but a little bit into January of 2018. But then throughout the rest of 2018, it had a huge bear market. Tell me how that's different from PancakeSwap in 2021, where PancakeSwap had a big pump in 2021, but then 2022 happened, and later on in 2021 to late 2021, the market started to crash. But that's the same thing that we've seen historically with crypto markets that have fully recovered and went for big bull markets. We've seen the same structure in these markets over and over again. The same ABC correction, the same pump. So do I believe PancakeSwap will fully recover? 100%. I believe this coin will break its old all-time high and go for a parabolic run. 100% I believe that. Loved your last Doge video. What do you think it will do next? You know, I think Dogecoin will keep breaking out. We've started to see Doge break out, and I believe we will continue to see Dogecoin break out. So let's pull up the daily candles here. You can see we broke bullish out of the triangle as planned, as expected for Doge. Let's delete that line and I'll draw the triangle here. You can see we had a triangle here and we broke bullish out of that triangle as expected and as planned. So I think we're going to break resistance. We're getting really close to resistance here for Dogecoin. I think we'll push right up through and start to head up towards bigger resistance levels up here. You know, 48 cents and 43 cents. And if we can get above those, this thing is going to go nuts. Dogecoin is going to go probably to a new all-time high. If it breaks above those resistance levels, then Dogecoin is going to go to a new all-time high. I already am planning on it doing that, but that's kind of the confirmation line that you'd look for to fully confirm that that's what's coming for Dogecoin. It's one of those classic memes that you just have to hold. You know, it's a must-have, and if you don't have Dogecoin in your portfolio, you might want to rethink that. You know. Let's see. Will there be any big corrections? Or I guess you just said correction, not big. Will there be any correction before the price increases on Monday? I think we're going to kind of just take off here. If there is a correction, it'll be very small, very short-lived. Kind of like what happened over here, you know. And this is the Dogecoin chart, but you could really apply this to Bitcoin or anything. Like if we pull up Bitcoin and we're looking at Bitcoin on the 45-minute, there could be a small correction, but I'm kind of leaning towards us really building momentum and just breaking out here. So that's my plan. If there is a small correction on the 45-minute, it would be very small and very short-lived before going higher. We've got a lot of momentum. We've got a lot of reasons to be bullish on crypto. And I think we're going to keep pushing higher for crypto. FET. Let's check out FET. You know, 3 diglets. Let's look at AVAX. And then we'll look at these other coins. And thank you for the donation. I genuinely appreciate that. And I love Pokemon, by the way. I grew up playing those games on my Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advanced. So, you've got a pretty sweet username. Let's pull up AVAX here, and then we'll cover the other coins. So we broke bullish out of an inverse head and shoulders here, which is really good for AVAX. We have our left shoulder here, our head right here, and a right shoulder right here. And we just barely broke bullish out of that pattern. So this pattern has like an 83% success rate. If you guys don't have my list of free trading patterns, make sure you go into the Discord group and then click under knowledge and links and click top trading patterns. It's completely free, just a Google Drive link, and it has all of the top trading patterns. But it also has a list of trading patterns and their statistical probability for playing out once you've broken above the confirmation line of that pattern. And the inverse head and shoulders pattern has an 83% success rate. Once you break above the confirmation line, which is the neckline right here, this green line, which we just did, you have an 83% chance of going to the minimum target. And the minimum target just so happens to be measuring from the top of the neckline to the bottom of the head. You get a minimum target, and that just so happens to be $37 for AVAX. Now, a lot of times if you break above an inverse head and shoulders, you will get a pullback to the neckline before you push up to the minimum target. And a lot of times you'll push past the minimum target too, because it's the beginning of a bigger picture move, a bigger kind of move playing out in the market. It's just a reversal pattern, so that's the reversal of a new trend that you're starting. So a lot of times you'll go way higher than the minimum target. But you have at least an 83% chance, now that we've broken above the top of that neckline, for us to reach $37 in the near future on AVAX. Even if we pull back slightly, which would be very small pullback to the neckline before going higher. So that's in the short term. Now in the bigger picture, I've talked about this a few times, but this is a perfect example of a market cycle. So let's pull up Amazon over here on the right, and I'll show you what I mean by market cycle example. Pull up Amazon.com, and we'll go back in the day to the internet bubble, and we'll look at Amazon. Well, look what Amazon did during the internet bubble, okay? We had a first sell-off pattern right here where the market crashed a little bit, shook a lot of people out. Then it went all the way to the moon during the internet bubble. Then you had a big crash, and then it started to recover, but you had another big crash right here. And then it broke out, came back down to support, and went all the way to a new all-time high. And if you look at AVAX right now, and we consider 2021 to be like a crypto bubble, you know, that's exactly what AVAX did. Our first sell-off pattern here, shake a lot of people out before it goes higher. Then the market goes completely to the moon. Then you have a big bear market, and then you start to recover. Then you have a correction. Where have we seen this before? It's almost like we've seen this before somewhere else, like Amazon.com did this already. And the same psychology is playing out on AVAX right now. That's exactly what we're seeing. And I believe we're getting ready for that big vertical breakout soon for AVAX, where we break out bullish here up towards our old all-time high before we really break out to a new all-time high and go for a big bull market in the bigger picture. So we've got an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the smaller time frame, and we have a big perfect market cycle here on the bigger picture. This coin looks amazing. This is like buying Amazon in 2006. Imagine buying Amazon.com at $1.31. And before it did this, before Amazon.com hit $228. 200 times your investment, pretty much, from that price point in 2006 on Amazon to current price. We can measure exactly the percentage if we take our percentage tool, go from the bottom here. Yeah, that's 160 times your money, 168 times your money from buying the dip in 2006 to holding till current day price on Amazon.com. What kind of a move will we see on AVAX? Could be huge. It could be astronomical in the big picture. It could be way bigger than what a lot of people are planning or dreaming of. It's a perfect example of a perfect opportunity to buy something undervalued in the big picture before it goes to the moon. That's what AVAX is. So it looks really good, man. It really does. All right, let's pull up good old Thet as Jack Straw has requested. I'm typing his username in. I meant to put Fet in. Oh, man. Okay, let's pull up Fetch AI. Let's go to the regular linear chart. So this is kind of what I was talking about with the first sell-off pattern towards the start of the stream, where coins that have not had a full-blown parabolic run a lot of times will do these big corrections and shake people out of the market before it goes parabolic, before it goes into its first big run. So that's what this is with Fetch AI. This is your first big correction here from the peak down to the bottom before you get a full recovery, before you go for a big run. So that's the first sell-off pattern. So if we pull up our market cycle chart on Google Images, and we're going to use, you could use the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? This one works. But let's pull up a different one. Let's actually pull up this chart right here, okay? Because it kind of illustrates this a little bit better. And we'll zoom in here. So as you can see, here's an example of the emotion of the market cycle. And you can see here early on you have smart money, then you have institutional money, and in that institutional phase, you can see this little thing on the chart that's called the first sell-off. And then it goes into media attention and enthusiasm and greed and delusion, and then new paradigm. And then a big crash happens. Well, that little, it looks small when the pump that comes afterwards has happened. But when this media attention, enthusiasm, greed, delusion has not yet happened, when that still hasn't happened yet, that's when this looks big. The first sell-off pattern looks big. And let me pull up another chart here, over here on the right. And when Bitcoin had its bear market in 2018, a lot of people didn't believe me, but I was telling everybody, hey, you guys, this is the first sell-off of a new cycle for Bitcoin, of a new parabolic run. In 2018 right here, when Bitcoin went from 20,000 down to 3,000, I was trying to tell people, hey, this is the first sell-off pattern inside of a bigger bull market for Bitcoin. That's what it is. That I know it seems like the end. I know it seems like the beginning of the end for Bitcoin. Because a lot of people were really bearish on Bitcoin in 2018. When it hit 3,000 per coin, people were calling for 500 per coin, for 1,800 per coin, for really low levels. And I was trying to tell people, this is the first sell-off pattern in a bigger bull market for Bitcoin. The first sell-off, the bear trap before it goes into a bigger bull market. A lot of people didn't believe me, okay? But look what happened to Bitcoin. It went all the way to 100,000 per coin, and it's not done yet, baby. This thing is going to go higher. So if you look at that, and then you look at Fetch AI, you have to understand the context of the bigger cycle, right? You have to understand that early on, before you go parabolic, before you go like a banana or like a skateboard ramp and just shoot straight up to the moon, you're going to have these corrections most of the time. And if you look at Fetch AI, that's what it's doing. It's doing a big shakeout before it goes to the moon. And you have to understand that about the market, right? And if you go to coinmarketcap.com and you type in superintelligence, let's see, Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, okay? Here's another really good coin to be aware of in the world of AI. It looks, I mean, actually, this is the same ticker for FET. So I'm glad that I pulled this up because I got that confused. I thought that it was, but I wasn't for sure on that because this isn't a coin that I personally have a lot of right now. So I wasn't super sure, but this is this FET coins, Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. This is 3 cryptos combined into one. 3 AI coins that all combined into one super intelligence. So this thing is awesome. It really looks good. It looks like it's ready for a big bull market, for a big run. Just like what was coming for Bitcoin when Bitcoin was worth 14,000. Before Bitcoin went all the way to 100K. And I could easily see this thing hitting $10, $15 before it's done doing what it's doing. Theta and Tfuel. Let's pull up old Theta and Tfuel. This thing is going to blow people away. Theta is going to knock people's socks off and make people filthy rich. That's just the truth. That's what it's going to do. The real question you have to ask yourself is whether you're going to be one of those people or not. Because you don't have to. You can just sit on the sidelines and watch it go to the moon, or you can buy the dip, just like buying Bitcoin over here when it was worth $180 at the bottom of its ABC correction before Bitcoin went all the way to $20,000 in 2017. You can sit on the sidelines if you want to, or you can buy the dip on Theta and you can make a bunch of money as this thing takes off and starts to go to the moon, because that's what it's set up to do. And you can accept it or you can reject it, but I'm 99.999% sure this thing is going to break out and go nuts and just go vertical and blow people away. Completely break above its old all-time high, go all the way to a new all-time high, into price discovery, where it completely knocks people's socks off and goes to the moon. I mean, look what Bitcoin did. You can't even see that ABC correction barely anymore when you zoom out and you look how big the parabolic run that came afterwards was. Right? That's the kind of mindset I want you guys to have with crypto. Not, you guys, you have to think a little bit more. You have to get a little bit more excited than you are. Please. For your own sake. For the profit in your portfolio and the cash in your wallet. Get a little bit more excited and buy more crypto, especially Theta and Tfuel. Buying these coins right now is extremely intelligent to do. That's what a smart person would be doing, is buying more Tfuel, buying more Theta. Tfuel is a lot like early day Bitcoin too. Tell me that you see a big difference, okay? There really isn't a big difference. You could say the volume climax because Binance had a stupid amount of volume over here in 2021, and now that it's not a US exchange except for Binance US, they had to split off and become 2 different exchanges, right? Now that happened, you're not seeing as much volume. But if you were to go to charts.cointrader.pro, not ChatGPT, charts.cointrader, and pull up Tfuel over here. Oops, there we go. And pull it up on CoinMarketCap, where it's pulling volume from all of the different exchanges and all of the different sources. You're going to see that the volume on Tfuel right now is equivalent to Bitcoin over here, where Bitcoin had steady big spikes in volume. And then you look at Tfuel over here on charts.cointrader, you can see the volume is more, it looks more like Bitcoin over here. So you have to be aware that Binance had a lot of volume in 2021, and then it split off, and then it became Binance US and then Binance regular Binance. And so the volume isn't as consistent across time, historical data, as it is over here on charts.cointrader.pro. You have to understand that, okay? But buying Tfuel right now is a lot like buying Bitcoin in 2015 when Bitcoin was worth $180, before Bitcoin went to 20,000. In terms of the cycle, in terms of opportunity, in terms of everything good, it's the same. And it's worth 3 cents right now. How can you ignore buying this thing down to 3 cents? That thing is like stealing. It's like stealing to buy it down here. It shouldn't even be legal. Well, it should, because most people don't, because they don't understand the cycle. But it's a good buy. It's going to make people rich. Mark my words. It will. Alex W. Move in silver this week. Can you take another look? Will it stall at $50? Good question. As you guys know, I'm a big bull on silver and a big bull on gold as well. I believe both of them will see big bull markets, and I'm very bullish on silver and gold. It looks like it could push up through to a new all-time high. We are at our old all-time high resistance, so if there was ever a time for it to have a little healthy correction, it would be now. But to be honest with you, we've got a lot of momentum in this thing, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see it push right up through its old all-time high. Again, if you guys don't know and you weren't here for my last live stream, silver is a classic example of a market cycle, just like how I pulled up this market cycle example right here. Well, if you look at the Wall Street cheat sheet, that's a perfect example of a market cycle. That's why they call it the Wall Street cheat sheet. It's because if you understand this, then you're going to be way better off than 95% of all investors in the market. And that's what silver is. Silver did the Wall Street cheat sheet. It did a perfect example of a market cycle. And look at Bitcoin over here on the right. Bitcoin did a Wall Street cheat sheet, perfect example of one, in 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016. And then it went parabolic in 2017. Well, that's exactly what silver just did, okay? It's the same thing. And we can even pull up the NASDAQ Composite Index and go look at the internet bubble over here on the NASDAQ Composite Index. And guess what? It did the same thing too. Okay? Isn't this amazing how these charts do this? It's just so cool that this happens. Let's go to the 2-month here. Here's the NASDAQ Composite Index. Okay? Here's the internet bubble right here on the NASDAQ on the right. Here is a perfect example of, guess what? A market cycle. The Wall Street cheat sheet. Human emotion playing out in the charts. And if you look what happened to the Wall Street cheat sheet, or the NASDAQ Composite Index, look how perfect that recovery was. Look how perfect. That's literally perfect. Huge bull market came. And that's exactly what silver is doing right now. Silver's like right here. Okay? It could have a little stall at the old all-time high like the NASDAQ did. We could see, especially as it gets toward $50, we could see a little pullback here. But if it does, it's not going to be big. I mean, it'll be big in the short term. Everybody will think it's the scariest thing ever, even though it's just like a little red candle. Even if it only came back down to $40 an ounce, hit 50 and then came back down to 40, everybody would say the sky is falling. But you guys, silver is really set up to do a full-blown parabolic bull market. Just like what happened over here to the NASDAQ after the internet bubble popped, then it had a double bottom pattern here in 2008. That's exactly what happened to silver. Okay? Silver did the same thing. We had a bubble pop, and then we had a correction here in 2022. That's the same chart, you guys. And this is really what's coming for silver. And you can see why I'm such a big bull. You definitely don't want to be a bear when the floodgates are opening and billions of dollars are flooding into something. You don't want to try to fight that. You want to ride it, make as much money as you possibly can. Silver is set up for some big parabolic bullish movement. You can see it plain as day if you understand the cycle and what's going on. Have I covered Litecoin? No, I haven't covered Litecoin, but kind of back to this whole idea of fractals and human emotion. Litecoin is a coin that I believe will do a big parabolic run this cycle. And kind of going back to what I taught at the very start of this live stream, where I said the stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. So what happens in the stock market happens in crypto. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Now let's pull up NVIDIA, and I'll show you that the stock market and crypto, the same things happen. And crypto is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. So let's pull up NVIDIA on the 1-month chart here. This is an NVIDIA accumulation cycle. Okay, here's Litecoin right now. 2025, September 12th of 2025. Okay, Litecoin right now. It's exactly the same as early day NVIDIA. The same chart. Can you imagine how many people would have given up on NVIDIA during this whole choppy, crazy accumulation phase? Especially during this period right here where it was just going sideways. Now imagine how many people are giving up on Litecoin right now. Well, big institutions put billions of dollars in. A lot of people are. Buying Litecoin right now is like buying NVIDIA before NVIDIA went parabolic into a bull market. I firmly believe that. Where do you think the top of Bitcoin will be? I think it could easily hit 400K. 250,000. That's pretty much guaranteed at this point. 400K, it could easily hit 400K before it tops out. How much higher than that it would go, I don't know. I'm not one of those guys that thinks Bitcoin is going to hit 10 million per coin or 100 million or anything like that, but I could easily see 400K. And 250,000 is basically guaranteed at this point for Bitcoin. I just bought some more Trump. I'm bullish. What do you think, Dallin? I am a big bull on Trump. I love Trump coin. It's sweet. This thing is one of my favorite coins. I think it's going to do good. I really do. We have a nice double bottom pattern forming for this coin. Big, huge double bottom pattern forming. Pretty classic structure in the chart too. If we pull up one of my favorite examples would be Cardano. Let's pull up the 3-day chart here. And let's pull up Cardano, okay? And we'll pull up Cardano market cap if we can find it. think we might just have to type in ADA. ADA. There we go, market cap for ADA. So here's what happened to ADA when ADA first got added to exchanges, okay? So here's Cardano over here on the right, and here is Trump over here on the left. So buying Trump coin right now is very smart. This is what happens to new cryptos. People that don't understand this wonder, and they make fun of coins. They're like, ha 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 ha, Trump coin is down 90%, those dummies that bought Trump coin. Well, guess what? Who's going to have the last laugh? Okay? That's the question I want you to ask. Who is going to have the last laugh? It's not going to be the people that are mocking the people that are buying Trump coin. It's going to be the people that are buying Trump coin. Those are going to be the people that have the last laugh. And it's going to go parabolic. I really believe Trump coin will go parabolic up to a new all-time high. New coins that get added to exchanges a lot of times will have a pump, then they'll have a big correction, make a big rounded bottom, and then they go to the moon. That is the story that we've seen in crypto over and over and over again. That's the same story we see. And I really believe that's the same story we will see for Trump. Well, we have the chart open here. Somebody wants me to cover ADA, so let's pull up ADA. Actually, we'll pull up versus the dollar instead of the market cap chart. We'll do a little Cardano analysis. So, in my last video about Cardano, I talked about a bull flag pattern here on the daily. So we have a bull flag right here. We just broke bullish out of that bull flag. We're starting to see upside as planned. And I think we're really going to break above our local resistance here and start to see a new local high for Cardano. Break out up above our old all-time high and see a new local high. So that looks really good. Okay. On the daily candlesticks, we're starting to push up through our bull flag and push up towards resistance, and I believe we will see a strong breakout on Cardano very soon. The other thing that you can see here on the 3-day candlesticks is a bull flag as well. This bull flag is a little bit more volatile, a little bit more janky, but it doesn't matter. This is crypto. If there isn't a big bull wick or bear wick somewhere, then can you really call it crypto? Crypto's a volatile industry. You're going to see big bull wicks and bear wicks sometimes in these markets. So to see a big bull wick and a bear wick right here, no, it's not a surprise to see that. But this is a bull flag, and we did break bullish out of that bull flag, and that's a bullish continuation setup to see this structure in the market for us to go up to a new local high. And in terms of the bigger picture for Cardano, which this is going to make a lot of people, because the thing is people are skeptical and cynical, and if they would just stop being that way and they'd be open-minded. But I understand, like I really do, because a lot of people don't have the right mindset, and they haven't seen as much charts, and they haven't seen as many recoveries, and so it's harder for them to believe, right? But if you've been in crypto for a long time, you've seen all this. You've seen the big bear markets. You've seen the big recoveries. You've seen the charts that look like they're never going to recover, go up to a new all-time high and blow people away. That's why I can confidently talk about coins like Algorand, which my friend requested earlier in the live chat, High Tech Redneck, and tell you guys I'm confident that this thing is going to break out to a new all-time high. And with Cardano, It's the same thing. I'm confident that Cardano will break out to a new all-time high. I'm very confident in that. Fully confident that we will. I've seen these charts before. I've seen these cycles before. And if you haven't, that's okay. Be open-minded. Be open-minded to what can happen in these markets. Because that's what's going to make you money. And if you care about making money like I do, then you're going to have an open mind to what's possible in these markets. You're not going to close off. And with Cardano is a perfect setup. Why do you think I've been making videos about this coin? I don't get paid a dime by any of these companies that build these coins. Nobody is reaching out to me and sending me money to make videos about these coins. And if they do, I don't respond to them. You know, sometimes I'll get people that have some project that they're building that will reach out to me, but I don't respond to them. I make videos about these coins because I believe that if I make videos about these coins, my viewers are going to make more money. And if my viewers make more money, then my business does good and I make more money too. And everybody wins. That's why I make videos about certain coins. Why do you think I make so many videos about Cardano? Because I firmly believe Cardano will break out to a new all-time high. I really do. Why do I make videos about Dogecoin even though utility investors would see that and not watch my channel because they think that I'm crazy for being bullish on Dogecoin? Because I firmly believe Dogecoin will go for a bull market, just like Cardano. Let's pull up the Doge chart, okay? And we're already over an hour in, and I'm having a really good time, but I don't want to keep going because I've got stuff I got to do today. So I'll do a couple more coins here. But look at the Dogecoin chart, okay? And then look at early day Bitcoin. I don't talk about Doge just because my only motive is the fact that I know people are going to get rich and my business will prosper because I talk about specific coins. That's why I talk about them. It's because I'm going to be more successful, and my VIP members and my viewers and all of the people that watch my channel are going to be more successful, and we're all going to win, and we're all going to make money. That's why I talk about what I talk about. That's why I try to tell you guys the truth as it is in these charts. Buying Dogecoin right now is a lot like buying early day Bitcoin. It looks like the first cycle on Bitcoin, but it also looks like the 2015 cycle as well. So here's the 2015 cycle. It looks a lot like the 2015 cycle, Dogecoin does. Let's go to the weekly candlesticks here. Well, actually, let's do the 2-week so that the candlesticks widen up a little bit, and then we'll go to the weekly on Bitcoin. Or the 2-week, actually, will be better for Bitcoin. Okay, there we go. Tell me that these charts don't look similar. They do. They do. They look very similar. And the same ABC correction that happened on Bitcoin in 2015 is the same ABC correction that happened on Dogecoin in 2022. And buying and holding Doge will make you very wealthy to do that. You won't be mad that you did. Cool. We'll do one more coin, and then I'm going to call it a day. Uniswap. Let's pull up old Uniswap here. And if I missed your coin, I'm sorry. Try to get as many as possible. You can always join the free Discord. Sometimes people ask me in here, what do I think about this coin? Or what do I think about that coin? And a lot of times in the free Discord, even in the free area, if someone asks me and I have the time, I'll take the time to respond and give you a chart and let you know what I think is going to happen. Be aware of scammers. I'm never going to message you and tell you to go sign up for some website. Sometimes people try to impersonate me on here, or sometimes they'll even try to impersonate other top YouTubers and send you a message. So be aware of that. I'm not going to just DM you. That's why I've got these warnings going off all the time here in the general chat, letting you guys know, hey, be careful. Just so read this warning, okay? Go read the warning. But yeah, join the free Discord if you're not part of the free Discord. And if you have a coin that you want me to cover and I didn't cover it in today's live stream, go post in there in the questions box or in the general chat and ask me. And when I get some time, I'll go respond and let you know what I think. So here is Uniswap on the left and here is Bitcoin over here on the right. And what you can see with this chart is just how similar, again, back to the fact that markets are cyclical in nature and the same human emotion repeats in these charts, and you can use that human emotion to make money. Look at Uniswap right now and look at Bitcoin in 2015. Buying Uniswap right now is a lot like buying Bitcoin in 2015. Okay? This is why I believe such a big bull market is coming for crypto, because the charts are telling us that it is. The charts don't lie. And they're telling us that there is a big bull market coming in crypto. And especially for the altcoins, even though Bitcoin will go really high still, the altcoins are going to give you guys insane percentage gains. Insane. Absolutely astronomical percentage gains coming in the altcoin markets. And with Uniswap, it's a perfect example of buying a coin undervalued. Here at $10, this thing could easily go to $60, $80, $100, or even higher before it tops out. I can easily see $100 per Uniswap and a new all-time high coming in the bigger picture for this coin. I could easily see that. I mean, look how high Bitcoin went, you know? And when the cycle repeats and people get excited and they start telling all their friends and their friends tell their friends and then their friends tell their friends, that's why you get something like Bitcoin after a big ABC correction going all the way up to 20,000 per coin and blowing people away and going up to these really high extensions. Because people got excited. Why do you think they call it the psychology of a market cycle? It's because it's human emotion playing out in these charts. Why do you think they say the feelings appearing as the market fluctuates? Because that's the emotion. Markets are based on psychology and human emotion. Why do you think they call it a bullish Elliott wave impulse? Because people get impulsive. So you have a bullish impulse wave and a bearish impulse wave. It's human emotion in these markets. And that's why it's so repeatable. And that's why you see the same stuff over and over again. Because human emotion is playing out. So yeah, that's my live stream for the day. I wish I could have got everybody. But if you didn't get your coin covered, go join the free Discord. Again, make sure you click or you check out the scam warning. I'm never going to message you. I won't ask for you to go sign up for some website and deposit money there. If anybody ever does that, it's a scam. And if anybody ever looks like me, check the username. I'm not just going to message you, okay? All right? I'm not just going to message you in Discord. So check the username. And also, sometimes they'll try to impersonate other top YouTubers. So be aware of that too. But join the free Discord. Don't respond to messages from people, especially if they're asking you for money or asking you to sign up for some website. It's a scam. Thankfully, only a couple people have ever been scammed. That's why I have the warnings in here. But join the free Discord. You can use a questions box, and in here, you can ask questions or the general chat, and I'll cover your favorite coin when I get time. Thank you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos and in future live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there.